Nick, rounding up, final thoughts. We've got 5-10 minutes to go, and we've still got some questions we need to answer. And my favorite guy, Steve, policies and standards. Nick, talk to me about Zero Trust.
Well, if you don't have a policy, then it really is the Wild West out there. You have no way of measuring anything. And it's that management adage of you can't manage what you can't measure. And without the policy and the standard, an identity just becomes a free agent in your business. A joiner will join one part of the business, accumulate rights for the entire career, and then be massively over-permissioned by the time they've been in your business, not just 5 years later, because of a lack of standards.
Yeah. I mean, and that really talks to knowing your ID stack, right? Define it even before you touch the tooling. What should an ID do? What shouldn't it do? You can write it on a piece of paper. Get a whiteboard and draw it on a whiteboard. You know, some people are visual and they have to do that. Do that. Understand what your identity stack is doing. Profiling, Nick. I mean, you showed us some profiling in the demo earlier.
Where we are now, Al, is that we've got a whole bunch of applications and we just don't know what they do. So since we've installed all this stuff and we've done it in good faith and we've bought applications from large vendors, we install things. And then as we saw in our demo tenant, we never switch them off. We still have Skype for Business things that have got massive permissions in our tenant. But what is the life cycle to actually get rid of that application? And unless we define something, going back to policies and standards, that application will be around for as long as that tenant is around with all the permissions that it has.
And just to be sure, so that everyone knows, Nick takes this seriously. He's fired vendors that we've partnered with because of this no break glass account was the example, right? He's fired vendors. He said to the vendor, sorry, I can't support your product because you don't have a break glass account. Thank you very much for your time. Our agreement is nulled, right? So always be checking. This is not a set and forget, right? You're going to get a snapshot point in time view of what your world looks like. And then you're going to have to carry on making sure that you can grow the maturity from an identity governance perspective inside of your organization. And you are going to have to be checking always, right? And then last, Nick doesn't like the trust but verify.
I don't. And I'll fight you with that one on tooth and nail. So I'll take number 4 and you can take number 5, because the primary tenet of Zero Trust is that we don't trust and we assume breach. And that's why we fired that vendor, Al, because if I've lost control of my AAD or my Entra ID and I don't have a break glass account in the product, how do I recover from the very scenario that I say I'm preparing for?
In a greenfields, yes. In a brownfields, you're starting with something, right? So you extend this olive branch, right, to the vendors, the third-party vendors, the sales forces, and you believe, you trust, but you still go look, go around the back, check it out, make sure the network cable's plugged in, sort of thing, to make sure that, you go through this. Otherwise, you will Daniel Craig your ID system, and then people are going to shout at you and service desk is going to be inundated.